So, some of you might be wondering what's going on today, Thursday, on October 3rd, 2024. And while I know it's been a little over a week since September 27 of this year, I've had my truck for 7 years. This time last year, it had 96,900 miles on it. I ended September 27 with 121,200 miles. So that means for this yearly cycle, this truck has been driven 24,300 miles. Yeah, 2024 has been quite the year for this truck. As many of you recall, beginning of this year, mainly towards the end of January, this truck became my noble steed once more. And then 5 months later, right around June 25th, I want to say, yep, transmission went again and had to be down for a month and a half. It was that stupid valve body again, but more on that in a second. I finally did something to mitigate that. And she still runs strong. Almost breaking 122,000 miles. The motor still burns no oil. And it's just been a great truck. It's outlived yet another one of my cars. 3 cars now. My Cobalt, my Corolla, and my Sonata. So, as we go underneath the truck here to look at its, well, technically still second transmission, but having to be rebuilt for the second time. Same reason as always, it turns out to be the valve body. But no worry, I did something this time. So while the truck was down for a month and a half, you know, it was warranted. They did warranty it thanks to my MaxCare. I saw fit to take matters into my own hands and have a different valve body put in now. The best of the bunch is the Sonnax CHR146, but Sonnax is getting cleaned out of them because they're in such high demand. I talked to every different vendor. They're all on back order. However, because Sonnax does use your stock Mopar valve body as the base for their CHR146, what they also do is sell the individual parts that make it up. And then other valve body companies can put it together and make pretty much what would otherwise be that Sonnax valve body, just not built by Sonnax. That's where Ream Man comes in. They're headquartered in Lansing, Michigan. They were actually recommended by Sonnax themselves when I inquired about my situation, that none of their vendors seemed to have any of their valve bodies in stock. So I gave them a shot. Customer service was amazing with Ream Man. Again, I'll leave a link to their website. But if you have a 66 or 68 RFE and you're having a hard time getting a Sonnax CHR146, give Ream Man a try. Not trying to endorse any brands, I'm just saying who I used and who managed to help me out here. And I also want to tip my hat to Healy, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram for not only having such good, knowledgeable technicians, but that they can actually hold on to their employees. So much so that a motorhead customer like myself can have a relationship with the mechanic. There's an absolute awesome factor in this. So transmission gets warranted, drive it around a couple of weeks, make sure everything's okay, and it was. Had my whole fiasco trying to get the Sonnax valve body to find out about Ream Man. Healy puts it in for me, and I'm glad I had them put it in because it was a lot more involved than I realized. Because I know well enough not to touch something I don't know what I'm doing. Did an awesome job. Hell, the shifts felt even more solid. In fact, when the mechanic was dropping that valve body, that freshly new valve body from Mopar, supposedly new or remanufactured properly, yeah, no, it was already starting to fail. He thought it was going to probably fail another 2 months, so that means this truck would have had to have been down for a 5th time, which wouldn't be so egregious to me if the truck also didn't have to be down for excessive periods of time. You know, if we were talking about a normal 2 weeks top turnaround time, I wouldn't be bothered by any of this. Hell, you know what? Go through 100 more if you have to. But that's not what's happening here. They just use the excuse, well, at least it's covered, at least it's for free. No, that doesn't work with me. You know, that works with maybe a $200 toy store bike, but not when you're talking about a $50,000 truck that's someone's livelihood and their only vehicle. That just didn't work with me, and I'm glad I took matters into my own hands. I now have the solid, trustworthy truck that Stellantis should have built for what this truck cost. So, absolute hat tip there to Healy. They have gone above and beyond as a dealership again. And that's pretty much all I have to say about the transmission. I think it's solid now. Yeah, it's known for these other problems, but I use it so lightly, this truck. I think the other problems will stay under the radar. I'm pretty sure they will. You know, I know they say a chain is only strong as its weakest link. What is the next weak link? Will it ever manifest? I don't know yet, and I'm afraid only time will tell. Here's the motor. Same as it's always been. Not much to really see here. Still runs strong. Still doesn't burn any oil. As I mentioned earlier, the one area of concern, it does have that so-called Hemi tick. I'm aware of that. It's very subtle. I know the camera's not even going to pick it up, so I'm not even going to bother running the motor, but you hear what can be almost like a knocking sound, but don't worry. My guys at the dealership have looked at it, and he has assured me that if it was a rod knock, the thing you got to know about these Hemis, as soon as they develop enough clearance for a rod to knock, it's going to grenade shortly thereafter. And it hasn't. So it's the valve train issues that they're known for now. I don't know if I'm going to make use of my MaxCare for this, and here is why. Chrysler is currently taking a crap, as we all know, and they have had major QC issues, especially over the last, 4-5 years. So yeah, let's say the valve train throws up enough metal to throw the motor with it. Is that new remanufactured motor going to be any good? Is it going to last as long as this one? That's what I'm afraid of. And also, will I still even have my MaxCare plan now? I know this doesn't apply to all Chrysler products, but I've watched so many videos on the tube about Stellantis. Certain vehicles, they're buying out the warranty. I don't know if that necessarily affects my MaxCare, but that is a possibility to entertain. And you know what? If with the right money amount, I might just take up on it, because I feel the past 2 years, the warranty's not worth having if, you got to be down for such egregious amounts of time only so you can get another out-of-the-box defective part that's going to break again in less than 2 years. That doesn't sound worth it to me. So if I'm in that situation and made such an offer, I might very well take it. And that'll just free me to have this motor rebuilt right, should it reach that point, which is it will be rebuilt properly, and I will have the kit put in to lose that stupid MDS system, and then the motor side of it is solid. So there are solutions for the transmission, solution for the motor, bada bing, bada boom. You got a nice solid truck, and I don't see why the F I should have to go spend 70 grand on a new one, because that's how out of control inflation is. A base truck is now, 60, 70 grand, depending what the hell you get. So it'll fall apart in 5 years. I say, hell no. So with all that in mind, yes, I will be cutting up the oil filter on the next oil change just to examine it. Make sure this motor is not going to try any funny business, which I don't think it will. Like I said, the thing runs strong. I check the oil all the time. No sparkles. I think everything is okay. And like I've also pointed out, this truck is paid for, and a paid for vehicle is something I'm not about to give up. Especially not in this economy, so yep, I'm keeping this son of a gun unless something goes cataclysmically wrong here. Of course, there is still this that needs addressing now. I know I've said in the past, I'm going to demand that Chrysler answers to this, because this is an outrage. And I know I've also said, hey, better the bed than the frame and cab, which is still good and solid on this truck. But I don't think they can quite answer to that right now, because other things are going on with Stellantis. Their day of reckoning has finally come. They are finally dying their much-deserved, slow, horrible death. And you know what? That is just as equally satisfying to me. And may Carlos Tavares also die of Lou Gehrig's disease. But anyhow, I guess I'm just going to have to, at my cost, have this fixed. Hopefully, if this November goes the right way, I'll be able to do a bunch of other good things for this truck next year. Well, that's pretty much my 7-year review here for my 2018 Ram 3500 single rear wheel with the 6.4 Hemi and the 410 rear gears. 7 is my lucky number. And I will say, 2024 so far has been quite the interesting year for this truck. As always, Any and all input is greatly appreciated, especially to any fellow 4th Gen Ram owners who might be watching this. I'd absolutely love to hear how well your 4th Gen Ram has fared. Have a great day, be safe out there, and don't be a stranger.